Most indoor cat owners carry a quiet, persistent guilt. You look over at your cat staring longingly out the living room window, and part of you wonders if you are keeping them locked in a prison of your own making. We naturally picture their dream life out there, a feline paradise where they leap fluidly through tall grass and chase butterflies across a sunlit meadow, finally living as the wild hunters they were meant to be. That cinematic image belongs entirely to humans. We take our own biological cravings for adventure, novelty, and wide-open horizons, and we project them directly onto an animal whose brain works entirely differently than ours. To a cat, the unknown is simply a threat that hasn't introduced itself yet. Because we misunderstand how they process unfamiliar environments, we misjudge what actually makes them feel content. To figure out what a cat needs to thrive, we have to drop our romanticized human lens and look straight at the stark, biological realities of what happens to them when they live outside. An indoor cat regularly lives 12 to 18 years, plenty reaching their 20s. But the lifespan for an outdoor cat plummets to just 2 to 5 years. Even worse, that statistic is highly misleading. Outdoor survival numbers are fractured because many deaths never get recorded. The outside world is packed with unannounced hazards. To a car at night, a cat is completely invisible. To a coyote, they are prey. Add in lethal rat poison and invisible diseases like feline leukemia. The result is that most outdoor cats don't get a recorded vet visit. One evening, they simply vanish, leaving an empty food bowl and a question that never gets answered. Your indoor cat will never become that tragic story. Every single one of those lethal threats is erased from their life by the decision you make every time you pull the door shut. The outdoors is an unmonitored biological battleground where sudden loss is the default rule of survival. A feline brain needs 3 biological pillars: secure territory, predictable resources, and environmental control. Outdoors, contested territory and scarce food lock them into perpetual hypervigilance. But inside, they enter a solved world. Providing absolute mastery over these pillars drops their survival stress to 0. When an animal doesn't have to spend every waking second worrying about survival, a profound behavioral shift takes place. They take all that conserved energy, the watching, the learning, and the communicating, and they focus it entirely on you. Adult cats almost never meow at each other in the wild. That vocalization is an invented language they develop exclusively to communicate with the human who controls their solved world. An indoor cat following you from room to room or yelling for dinner is expressing the absolute deepest form of trust that a natural apex predator can possibly offer. There is one final internal danger wired into feline biology. Because they evolved as both predator and prey, cats possess a stubborn, deeply entrenched instinct to aggressively hide their pain and mask their physical weakness. When an outdoor cat that's sick, that illness remains almost invisible. The physical evidence, vomiting, changes in urination, or leaving food behind, is scattered across an unmonitored neighborhood where the owner will never see it. The indoor environment naturally forces hypervisibility onto the cat's daily habits. You notice the subtle shifts immediately because their entire world is confined to your living space. Look at this layout. Inside your home, mundane resources like the water bowl and the litter box become critical, highly trackable data points. Every trip to the box and every extra sip of water provides a direct daily metric of their kidney function and internal health. Tracking those subtle behavioral shifts in a closed environment allows you to spot fatal diseases months or even years earlier than you ever could outside. In veterinary medicine, those early months are often the entire difference between a manageable condition and a tragic goodbye. The next time you feel a pang of guilt looking at that closed door, remember the reality of feline biology. Keeping a cat indoors acts as a profound layer of protection that strips away their heavy survival burdens, safeguards them from invisible threats, and gives them the chance to live 3 times as long.